Very good morning to you. Obviously, a deeply disturbing story. What more do you know about this attack on mainly farmers?
Many thanks for having me. I think this attack was carried out in a local government area which is really close to Maiduguri. Now, Maiduguri is the capital city of Borno State, and it is supposed to be a city that is relatively safe as a result of the strong presence of security officers. So I think that many people are quite apprehensive that this attack happened just about 15 kilometers from this city. And it really shows that the insecurity is still a problem, despite the repeated claims by the Nigerian authorities that Boko Haram has been technically defeated.
Yes, I mean, and the President promised that he was going to tackle Boko Haram and put an end to them. I mean, we know that Boko Haram is also split into two forces. How active does this indicate to us they still are? And tell us a little bit more about the offshoot.
I mean, it is clear that both fractions of the group are, operating quite well in various parts of the state. So in the far north area, which is really close to the Lake Chad, you find that, whether or not it's ISWAP or it is JAS, the first Boko Haram faction that made itself known across the country, they are controlling pockets of territory. And there's very little or no access for security officials or humanitarian workers who are providing, basic necessities to millions of people who are in need as a result of the conflict. A lot of the roads that lead outside Maiduguri are very unsafe due to the presence of insurgents who, carry out attacks, abduct people, and just, kill wantonly. And so we find that even within the areas where government forces are in control, anything outside of their immediate vicinity cannot be regarded as safe.
I mean, we are hearing that apparently the farmers were targeted because they had apparently handed over a member of Boko Haram to the Nigerian forces. I mean, if the Boko Haram groups are still so active, what's it going to take now to put an end to this? I mean, we know that part of the country is one that's sort of not the focus of the government. Many people there are considered second-class citizens.
Well, I think it's not it's a multifaceted problem. So there's no easy answer, to say what can be done to completely change the problem. But I think what is clear is that civilian protection is becoming more and more elusive. And this is a situation that the government must prioritize. Now, even though we're finding that in areas where there's government presence, there's still, insecurity. The government is actually making plans to send many internally displaced persons back to their communities, which are really very volatile at the moment. And so the question of how the authorities are prioritizing civilian protection is one that really needs to be answered. We also need to look into the capacity of the Nigerian military to really respond to the rising security concerns. There is very little transparency into military action. What sort of weapons are being procured, how much they're dedicating towards this, and whether or not this is in fact enough. There's also the question of corruption and where these funds are actually going. And it's a situation where military officers cannot speak up. In the rare event that one or two of them have, there's been severe repercussions or even reprisal actions to ensure that it doesn't happen again. And then we talk about the fundamental questions of what these drivers of recruitment are for the insurgency group and why they still have such presence in the Northeast. And the answers are quite a lot. First, ranging from trust in security forces as opposed to trust in some of these groups who are operating majorly in many parts, in many communities in the Northeast. And so once the authorities really start to tackle this question, then I think we might see some headway in the struggle against the insurgency group.
I mean, yeah, thank you very much for talking to us. I mean, that's such a salient point, isn't it? It's the grassroots level that needs to be tackled, those problems there. Thanks.